In this video, we're going to take a look at how to use Strapi's built-in user management system for authentication. We'll be covering registering a new user, logging in as a user, making permission-restricted requests, logging in with third-party providers, password recovery and email confirmation, email templates, and advanced settings. With Strapi, APIs can be protected using the built-in user management system. The API endpoints allow us to manage our users. For example, registering a user, logging in as a user, making requests as a user, logging in with a third-party provider, validating emails, and recovering passwords. Let's look at some ways in which we can manage our users and authenticate with our application. Using the post verb on /auth/local/register, we can create a new user in our database with the default role of authenticated. To do so, we'll need to include the desired username, email, and password in our post body in raw JSON format. To log in as our new user, we can use the post verb on /auth/local. To do so, we'll need to include the user's identifier and password in our post body in raw JSON format. This will return a JSON web token, which can be used to make permission-restricted API requests on behalf of our user. Let's make a permission-restricted request with our new user's JSON web token. To do so, we'll need to include the JSON web token in the value of the authorization header preceded with the word bearer. If we remove this permission from our authenticated role and run the request again, we can see that we are now forbidden from making the request. This remains true even if permission is granted to the public role. Successfully authenticated requests also return the user object containing user information. This is a property of ctx.state. We can also log in using a range of third-party providers. By visiting the Providers tab within the Roles and Permissions plugin, we can see that our local authentication provider is enabled by default. Let's use GitHub to demonstrate the use of a third-party provider. We'll be relying on the Strapi documentation linked to in the description for provider-specific instructions. We will need to register an OAuth application with GitHub by filling in the relevant information as required and making sure our homepage and authorization callback URLs are correctly entered. Once that's completed, we can head back to the Strapi admin panel and click on the GitHub provider to enable it. Finally, we'll need to paste over the client ID, client secret, and redirection URL for our front-end application. To log in through GitHub, we can use the get verb on /connect/GitHub, where we can also override the default callback URL with a custom one using the callback query parameter. This response will include our user and JSON web token data, which we can use throughout our application. To begin the password recovery process as a user, we can use the post verb on /auth/forgotten-password. To do so, we'll need to include the user's email in our post body in raw JSON format. Following this request, the user will receive an email that contains a URL with the needed code for the password reset. The URL must link to your reset password form in your front-end application, and it can be configured in the advanced settings. To email a user with instructions on how to confirm their email, we can use the post verb on /auth/send-email-confirmation. To do so, we'll need to include the user's email in our post body in raw JSON format. The redirection URL can be configured in the advanced settings. By visiting the Email Templates tab within the Roles and Permissions plugin, we can see our existing email templates, which can be customized. By visiting the Advanced Settings tab within the Roles and Permissions plugin, we have additional control over our user management settings. This includes setting the default role for authenticated users, only allowing one account per email address, whether the sign-up process is enabled, customization of the reset password page URL, whether email confirmations are enabled, and the redirection URL for when a user has confirmed their email address. That's it for this video on how to use Strapi's built-in user management system for authentication. You should now have a good idea on registering a new user, logging in a user, making permission-restricted requests, logging in with third-party providers, password recovery and email confirmation, email templates, and advanced settings.